Hey everyone, happy April! As you may or may not know, April is National Stress Awareness Month, and the Craft Yarn Council is running a social media campaign all month long to raise awareness and to encourage people to pick up knitting and crocheting as a great form of stress relief, or as we're saying, to stitch away stress. As a part of this campaign, the Craft Yarn Council got in touch with me to help them develop a fun and super easy crochet pattern for a stress ball, with the idea that after you stitch away stress, you can then squeeze away stress. I ran a couple design ideas past the CYC, and we ultimately decided to give you guys a pattern for a lemon stress ball. My thoughts behind the lemon stress ball were that when life gives you lemons, or stressful situations, you can then squeeze away your stress. The stress-busting benefits of this project are manyfold. Step 1, stitch away stress. As you may have heard, knitting and crocheting are relaxing, stress-relieving, and mood-boosting. Step 2, squeeze away stress. You've made this super cute lemon that you can take out all your stress and anxiety on, and it's there for you whenever you need it. Step 3 for me has been just having these around my house, looking cute and bright and cheery. I've been keeping them in my kitchen as little display items, and they just add a pop of color and are just mood boosting on that level for me personally. In this video, I'll be teaching you how to crochet your very own lemon stress ball step by step. The pattern will also be available for free at craftyarncouncil.com. Plus, we'll have a knit version as well for you knitters, so no one feels left out. I, however, am a terrible knitter, so this video will focus on the crocheted version. For this project, you'll just need a couple things. I'm using worsted weight yarn as per usual. This is Red Heart Super Saver in spring green, and this is Red Heart Super Saver in bright yellow. I'll be crocheting with an eye hook, and I'll also be using a tapestry needle and scissors. There's polyester stuffing in here, which I think is a fine stuffing for this project. If, however, you're a more aggressive squeezer and you need more resistance in your stress balls, I will also be experimenting with filling pantyhose with poly beads. I might be using a funnel, so things could get interesting. Stay tuned. I've also read online that people sometimes use stretched out water balloons and then they funnel in like cornstarch or flour. That to me sounds super messy and super stressful, so I will not be attempting that today, but if you do, I'd love to hear about it. If you guys happen to post your projects on social media, you can use our hashtags Stitch Away Stress, Squeeze Away Stress, or Lemon Stress Ball. If you want to read more about the healing benefits of crocheting and knitting, you can check out the Craft Yarn Council social media all month long, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. They'll also be posting giveaways, as well as more project ideas and inspiration for us to stitch away stress. So let's get started. Here's what your lemon's going to look like when it's finished, and we're going to start at the green end here, and then work in the round, and then finish here. I know in my intro I said that I was going to use an eye hook, and that is what I'm going to do. In the pattern, it looks like I said to use an H hook, so I'm sorry for the discrepancy. I usually work with an H hook, but since I really had beginners in mind for this pattern, I feel like sometimes it's easier for beginners to work with a larger hook rather than a smaller hook, so you can actually use whatever you feel more comfortable with. Gauge is not super important in this pattern. Your lemon will just turn out slightly bigger or slightly smaller, and that's no big deal. But I would definitely stick with worsted weight yarn for the crochet version of this project. If you use a yarn that's much thinner than that, your lemon's going to turn out super tiny and probably won't be as fun to squish around in your hand. So what we're going to do with green is either make a magic circle, or if you suck at magic circle like I do, we're going to do our cheat, which is chain 3. And then slip stitch to the first chain to form a ring. So yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and that's slip stitch. For round 1, you're going to chain 1, and then work 6 single crochet into this ring. Single crochet is insert your hook into the desired stitch. Sorry, I'm losing my voice already. Yarn over and pull through 1 loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. And once again, single crochet, insert your hook into the desired stitch, yarn over and pull through 1 loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. When you've completed 6 single crochet, you're going to move on to round 2. You're not going to join with a slip stitch. You're going to keep working in a spiral. So at this point, you're going to break off green. That's all the green you're going to need. So break that off. And then we're going to join bright yellow. And you don't need a lot of yellow. I quote about 26 yards of bright yellow for this pattern. So if you have a whole skein, you can make a ton of stress lemons. Okay, so for round 2, we're just going to single crochet 1 stitch in each stitch around. So the stitch count will remain the same. It will remain 6. So I'm going to insert my hook into the next stitch here and join my yellow. I'm going to work the first single crochet, and I'm going to work 5 more single crochet for round 2. That's the second, the third, fourth, the fifth, and the sixth. For round 3, we're going to start increasing, which means we have to work 2 stitches into 1 stitch in order to increase our stitch count. So we're going to work 2 single crochet into this first stitch, so that's 1, and then 2, and then 1 single crochet in the next stitch. It's just 1, and then we're going to repeat that 2 more times. So 2 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 single crochet in the following stitch, and do that 1 more time. 2 single crochet, and then 1 single crochet. And at the end of round 3, you should have a total of 9 stitches. For round 4, you're just going to work evenly, which means just 1 single crochet in each stitch. So that's 9 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's the end of round 4. And round 5, we're going to start increasing again, and you're just going to work 2 single crochets in each stitch, which means by the end of round 5 you should have 18 stitches around. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 15, 16, 17, and then 18. It should be looking something like this, like a little hat. At this point, you might see that these ends are kind of annoying. What I'm going to do is loosen my hook. I'm going to flip this inside out for a second, and this is kind of a cheat because you're supposed to really weave in all your ends when you crochet so your ends don't pop out. But for amigurumi like this, I don't know if anyone else does this, I just cheat. I just start tying some knots on the inside here, and I'll also then tie this green to this yellow, so it makes me feel like everything's tied down and secure. And then I trim them with maybe like, I don't know, a centimeter, and then I just pretend that doesn't exist. So there's my cheat for sometimes for the inside of my 3D objects. Okay, so for round 6, our increasing motif for this round is 2 single crochet in the first stitch, and then 1 single crochet each in the next 2. You're going to repeat that a total of 6 times around. So 2 crochets, 2 SC in the first stitch, 1 SC one SC each in the next 2 until you have 24 stitches around. And the last one, 2 single crochet in the first stitch, 1 single crochet each in the next 2. So now we have 24 stitches. Round 7 is just working evenly, so 1 single crochet in each stitch around. This one's easy. This is 21, 22, 23, 24, 24 stitches for the end of round 7. And round 8, we're going to increase one more time, and this is the last increasing round for this project. Round 8, the motif will be 2 single crochet in the first stitch, so 1 and then another one in the same stitch, and then 5 single crochet evenly, so it's 1 single crochet each in the next 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're going to repeat that a total of 4 times. 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'll do that 2 more times. So at the end of round 8, you should have 28 stitches around, and it kind of looks something like this. So for rounds 9 to 15, which are the next 7 rounds, you're just going to work 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around. And if you have a stitch marker, it would probably be helpful for you to use that right now. I never buy stitch markers because I'm lazy. I always just use an extra piece of yarn and a contrasting color. And then I just keep counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all up to 28, and then I start counting again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So, I'm just going to do that probably off camera, so you're not watching me just one SC in each stitch for 7 rounds. That's a lot of crocheting to have to watch, but so yeah, this is the super easy part. Although the one thing I do want to talk about is, in case you're a super beginner to crochet, the terms right side and wrong side of crochet work. Right side usually has an abbreviation of RS, and wrong side then logically will have an abbreviation of WS. And the right side of your work is the side that's facing you while you're working. So we're looking at the right side of my work right now. And the wrong side then is the back side. And a lot of amigurumi patterns, I think, call for the back side to show on the outside of your work, but this is a personal preference. I always prefer the right side to show on the outside of my work. I just think it looks prettier, but for beginners, sometimes, especially with a small stitch count, it can be easier to stitch this way. And you can do that, but your project will probably come out a slightly different shape. I don't really know how it would be different without working it, but I'm going to assume it might end up looking like longer and skinnier. You can try it. It'll probably look very similar, but I just wanted to give you a heads up that when you work a pattern and it mentions whether or not the right side or the wrong side should show on the outside, it can affect the shaping as well. So I'm just going to keep working around and around and around here, and we'll come back after I've finished round 15. Again, that's just 1 SC in each stitch for a total of 28 stitches in each round and a total of 7 rounds. So I'm just about finished with round 15 here. And then I just take out my marker because I don't really need it anymore at this point. Now I'm at round 16 and we're going to start decreasing the number of our stitches. I'm going to be using what they call an invisible decrease, and how that works is you're going to insert your hook into the front loop only, just one loop, the front loop of the next stitch, and then you're going to insert your hook into the front loop of the following stitch, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So you've just worked 1 single crochet from 2 single crochets in the round below, which means you've just decreased your stitch count by 1. And our motif for round 16 is 1 decrease and then working evenly in the next 5 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you're repeating the decrease and then 5 single crochet a total of 4 times. So just slowly one more time again, the invisible decrease is pick up the outside loop only, the front loop only of the next stitch, and then the front loop only of the following stitch, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. And then again, it's 1 single crochet each in the next 5 stitches. So you need to repeat that 2 more times. And at the end of round 16, you should have 24 stitches around because you decreased 4 times. Round 17 is just working evenly, so 1 single crochet in each stitch around for 24 stitches. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Now we're at round 18 and we're going to decrease again. So invisible decrease, 1 decrease, and then single crochet evenly in the next 2 stitches. So 1 SC here and 1 SC here. And then you're going to repeat that motif 6 times. So a decrease, invisible decrease, and then 2 SC evenly. And just keep doing that. You should have 18 stitches at the end of round 18. 17 and then 18. So at this point the opening is starting to get a little bit smaller, and if I were stuffing this lemon with polyfill, I would probably start doing that right now. But I want to try using a funnel and poly beads to fill this sucker up, so I'm actually going to put a marker here. You don't have to, but I'm going to, because in case the poly bead experiment goes awry, I'm just going to take out my work and come back here and use polyfill stuffing. So we'll see what happens. So for you polyfill stuffers out there, start stuffing now. If you want to follow along with me on this poly bead mystery outcome, then put in a stitch marker and we'll keep going. Round 19 is a lot of decreasing. We're going to decrease 9 times, so it's just decrease after decrease after decrease. 9 times, so here's 1, oops, 1, and 2, 3, 9. The reason why I'm crocheting further along for the poly bead experiment is that crocheting around a sack of poly beads is really annoying, which I learned in my baby Groot video. So this time I'm going to try to crochet as much as I can until my opening is big enough to use my funnel. So hopefully because of that I won't have to crochet around the poly beads. You'll see if it works. Okay, so now we're at round 20, and round 20 is just 1 SC in each stitch. So just working evenly around. It's 9 stitches total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, it is getting a little fussy here, but just keep working. So before any further decreasing occurs, I will now attempt my pantyhose poly bead funnel experiment. So here's my funnel. It's kind of big. I wanted to make sure that the opening was still big enough to allow for the funnel, and it barely is. Let's see. It'll get in there. Okay. What I'm going to do is we're going to fill up the toe So I'm gonna cut off the leg. I don't know, I'm just gonna guesstimate. Let's just cut off maybe like 9 inches of it, because I want some room to be able to tie it off too. And then you can save this for another similar project if this works out. So what I'm gonna do is try to stuff the toe. Maybe if I put my hand in it, it'll be stuff the toe into this hole. Oops, come here. It's kind of hard because I'm also hugging my tripod while I'm doing this. Okay, putting my hand in it did not help. So just stuff this in. This is maybe not the best way to do this. If you find this too annoying, unravel 2 rounds until you're back at round 18, because then you'll have, like, you know, your hole will be bigger and there's going to be more room for you to play with. Okay, and sort of feel that that's the opening. You can kind of shove the toe down in there and then fit the funnel into the hole, which I hope will stay, because otherwise poly beads are going to go flying everywhere. I'm going to open my bag of poly beads. They come in a pack like this. There's a lot of them. So you'll have poly beads 4 days. I brought a little scoop from my kitchen. So I'm going to get a scoop of these. And then I'm going to pray for the best here, because I don't know if this is going to work out very well. I'm going to try to hold the base here so that the funnel doesn't go flying. And I read about using a funnel online, but actually, I don't know, the funnel feels like it's not the greatest idea. So let's see what happens. Okay, the beads are not going anywhere. Let me try to poke some through with my hand. I don't think we're getting a lot of movement, frankly. Not a lot of beads going in here. So, I don't think this particular funneling technique is working. It would certainly work better if you didn't have the pantyhose to contend with, but then, you know, I'm afraid that your poly beads would pop out of your work, and so your lemon would be leaking poly beads. The other thing you could do, which is what I did for Baby Groot, was I just filled the pantyhose with as many beads as I thought would fit in here. I'm actually going to unravel the last 2 rounds where I left my stitch marker so that my opening is a little bit bigger, I think. And then I'm kind of determined to make the poly bead thing work, because I want to see what a lemon is like with the poly beads in it. And then put some poly beads in here, and then I'm just going to kind of eyeball how stuffed I want my lemon to be. I probably still have too many beads in there. I think that's too many. I'm going to pinch off a few more, which sounds terrible, but it's what I'm actually doing. I'm pinching it here, and then I'm going to dump some more out. You guys are like, just use polyfill stuffing. I don't like to give up. Okay, I'm going to tie this off now. Make sure all the beads are in there. I'm going to tie this off. People who are super concerned with leakage can pull the leg inside out over the whole thing again and tie off again, and then I think you can be pretty sure your beads are going nowhere unless someone stabs your lemon or you stab your lemon. Hey, if that's stress relieving for you, how about it? Go ahead. You made it. You can destroy it. Okay. The trick here is squishing this into this hole. That's not going to happen. It's totally not going to happen. This is such a fail on all levels. Okay, well, I'm going to try to squeeze this in off camera because it's really awkward for me to do, like, positioned this way. I wanted to show you guys a progress report. It's happening. I got it in, but clearly there's still too many beads in here because the lemon's not going to be that many more rounds. So I'm going to take some beads out. So I took out more of the beads, and I also tied this off with a little bit more slack up here so that the beads have a little bit more room to move around. So this should be easier to stuff in simply because there are fewer beads and it's less turgid. So like that. So yeah, it's easier to get in. And just squish that in there. And there is going to be some stuff sticking out, but we're not done crocheting yet, so hopefully that'll all kind of close itself in. And this is the part that I said was kind of annoying with Baby Groot, because you're going to have to like crochet around this sack sticking out, but I think we can do it. Okay, so we're back at the end of round 18, and as the pattern says, begin stuffing the lemon. You can stuff again with polyfill, or you can do it my way and have a weird adventure with pantyhose. So round 19 is to decrease 9 times around. So yeah, the hold on this is kind of weird now because of the poly beads, but I'll do my best. I'm going to wrap the yarn around twice around my finger just so I have a really good grip on it, just because everything's kind of weird now. For beginners, I don't recommend this. You should probably just get used to the crochet stitches and not having to crochet around a sack. So here we are at the end of round 19 after having decreased 9 times, and I just really kind of shoved the rest of the pantyhose in there just so they're out of the way. And round 20 again is 1 single crochet in each stitch. So that's just 1 SC in each stitch 9 times. 4, oops, I didn't realize I was off camera. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, oops, happens sometimes, 8, 9, and then round 21 we're decreasing again. You're going to do 1 decrease and 1 single crochet 3 times for a total of 6 stitches. So here's 1 decrease, 1 decrease, and then 1 SC, 1 decrease, oops, 1 decrease, and 1 SC. One more time, 1 decrease, and 1 SC. Now you should have 6 stitches. It's getting kind of tiny, but just keep looking out for your stitches and you should be okay. Round 22 is kind of a partial round. We're not going to work in each stitch, and this is just creating the little pointy top of the lemon. So we're just going to 1 SC and the next 4 stitches. The stitch count remains the same. So 1, 2, 2. That one was weird. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you're going to slip stitch into the next stitch just to join, and then you're going to break off. Because of the decreases and because I had to work around my sack of beads, there are some gaps here that you can't really see on the lemon that I stuffed with polyfill. So, you know, if you use yellow tights for this, it will be less visible. If that bothers you, then just stick with polyfill. But this turned out okay and has a really good, it's really pretty firm. I probably still could have taken out more beads, But anyway, let's finish this off with our tapestry needle. Finish this off with our tapestry needle. Like that. And I'm just going to weave in and out of the last stick, the last 6 stitches, and then pull to close. I'm gonna tie a knot to secure it, and I'm going to weave my end through. And that's it. It doesn't look too bad, right? Even with the pantyhose holes. It pretty much ends up looking the same with the beads in it. And thank you guys for your patience while I played around with that. I've been curious about it. Yeah, the only thing that bugs me is that it's difficult to work those 9 decreases in round 19. And so that's why I have those funny gaps there. The other thing you can do, I don't know if this is like taboo in the knitting and crochet world, but sometimes if I have gaps in my work, like I just go in with a tapestry needle and start sewing them together, because who cares? Like, especially, you know, if you're not selling these, I don't know, sometimes I think that I'm really worried about the integrity of my work when I sell it. But when it's a project just for me, you know, I don't care if I had to sew something together, as long as the end product looks good to me, like I'm really happy. And if this is considered cheating, well then whatever. The project will look good in the end, and to me, that's the whole point. We want a good looking project. I just don't think I'd be able to leave this alone with those holes in it like that. So I would keep weaving some yarn in and out of here, and I'm not so much pulling everything closed tightly. I'm just sort of like using this extra yarn to sort of act as a filler. It's just kind of filling in the spaces that were left from my decreasing. Again, this part is not crucial, but it's gonna make me feel better about showing people my work. I know my work is good. I just know that working with the sack of poly beads was kind of funky, and sometimes you just get holes in your work, and I guess now you know my big secret. I don't do this all the time. It is time consuming and kind of annoying, but for the sake of showing you guys something that I do upon occasion, I think this was a good moment to use this little cheat method. I mean, it kind of makes your crochet work no longer look like crochet. Like, if I were a crocheter, I'd be like, what is happening here? But, I don't know, those pantyhose poking out were just really bothering me. Like, I don't want to see, like, you know, nude colored weirdness coming out of my super cute yellow and cherry crocheted lemon. So I went around twice, and you can see, like, it really kind of closed up. Sorry. It kind of closed up any weird gaps, and then I would just tie this off and then weave in the ends. Now we're actually done. Done. I can't say which one I prefer. To me, squishiness is really comforting, but if, you know, you need more of like a challenge, then the poly bead route could be the route for you. I hope you guys had a lot of fun making your lemon stress ball with me. As always, if you have suggestions or requests for future crochet tutorials, just let me know here in the comments on YouTube or anywhere on my social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, my blog. Until then, stay relaxed, get a snack, get some sleep, hang out with friends, be good to yourself, and I'll see you really soon. Bye!